Thank you, Mr. Hebrink, members of the board. Ron Saathoff. I'm a former president of Local 145, 31-year firefighter for the city of San Diego. I support staff's report, but I do have a reservation. I supported, I think I was before you last month, and indicated that when we had negotiated drop, that the interest crediting was tied by the MOU and the original ordinance that put it into place to the assumed rate of return. And the reasons for that were fairly straightforward. It was a long-term rate of return, and it was considered long-term in terms of its investment strategy and consistent with how we paid other accounts on interest-bearing. So the fact that you've changed it to 7.75, making the move to change drop interest to 7.75 is wholly consistent with both the intent and the language of the MOU with regard to drop interest crediting. The concern I would have is that which was expressed by Mr. Ferre, is the timing. You know, if you're considering making a different move or another move, you know, after your January meeting, making an interim step for a quarter point is going to cause a great deal of concern. It's going to cause a great deal of disruption, and it's going to cause a lot of personnel displacement, if you will, because frankly, people are going to probably, I think, rush to the door to try to get in if they can before December 31, so that they can take effect at 8% rather than 7.75. Typically, when you've made interest rate changes, and I shouldn't say typically, at least in my history, and I was on the board for 20 years, the changes always took place on the first date of the new fiscal year, because that's when the actuary did their calculations. Everything was based on all the actuarial assumptions, and other changes that you make are always calculated based on the first and go into effect based on the first day of the new plan year. That would be wholly consistent if you were to make that change at that point in time, and so I would at least offer you that you should consider that, given what Mr. Ferre has said and the disruptions and the fact, candidly, that you're looking at making another change perhaps, or at least getting further information and reviewing this issue within 60 days. So an interim change, it seems to me, would be disruptive, and that you ought to make the final decision at the correct point in time, and I would argue that should be July 1st for the implementation. Thank you for your time, and appreciate it.
Thank you.